Northern Lite truck campers. Now, traditionally, they are known for making campers that are fantastic, obviously, for season, but they traditionally fit larger trucks with larger weight capacities. The 610 is designed for a smaller truck, short bed, with possibly a lower capacity, maybe even your half-ton pickup truck. Let's check it out. It is time to look at the Northern Lite 610. What do we know about Northern Lite? They're made in British Columbia, so Canadian, and they love using their equipment all the time. So it is for season, and as with every Northern Lite, it has this very Northern Lite look because it is a really cool two-hole, double-hole system that is fantastic for keeping the weather outside where it needs to be and keeping you warm or cool, depending on the season, as you should be on the inside. So let's go inside first and take a peek at a truck camper that could possibly fit your half-ton short bed pickup truck. And we'll talk about the sizes, the weights, the capacities, the fit and the finish, and all that right in here. All right, welcome aboard the Northern Lite 610. I'm gonna close this door, and you might see that at 6'4", 6'5" in my shoes and a beanie on top, I do make a little contact. I will say I can stand up straight here, but when I'm looking up here, I quickly notice a few things. They have opted to put in, just like their larger campers, the really nice carpeting on the top, and I always like that. It always makes it feel really good in here. And one thing I really appreciate about small spaces that have some sort of carpeting on the walls or the ceiling or both is that it really deadens the sound reflections and makes it feel much more tight, sealed up, more comfortable. So I always appreciate that. Now, I'm not really worried about getting too much sound spilling in from the outside anyways. The double hole design and the block foam insulation in this, part of it being for season, really do a great job of making this feel, again, insulated, not just from the elements, but also the sound. So I'm going to look around and I'm going to tell you straight up, they had to do a few things to make sure that this camper is light enough to go in some of the half-ton pickups, and certainly anything larger, more capacity than that, but some half-ton pickup trucks are very capable of this. It is, base model, standard, without any options. They have a target point of 1,500 pounds. This has a few options on it, so it weighs just over 1,600 pounds. I want to say it was 1,610 pounds with the options on this one. A half-ton pickup truck these days very well could have 2,000 pounds payload capacity or more. So my personal use case scenario would be, man, those solo or couples camping trips that I so look forward to on my half-ton pickup truck. So fit and finish, one way they saved weight is that you have a lot of storage in here, like really everywhere, and I'll show you a lot of this storage, but it doesn't have cabinet fronts, it has cutouts. So you're gonna see here, and whenever I show you the outdoor storage as well, you're gonna find that it has the fantastic plywood on the inside, the build, all the structure is there, but they skeletonize it, if you know that term, to make sure that it still has the rigidity, but you'll have open areas versus cabinet fronts. All good and well. The look, the feel, it feels so modern. It feels just so good. CNC cut, everything. How about I go through some of the equipment right here at the door. You saw that it is a standard RV door with a screen. They do separate. You do have a light right here above. It can be one side or two sides with a switch. This switch is for the outdoor porch light. Right above me is a fantastic fan, and it is a really great model. Of course, it can bring air in, out, different speeds. It has a rain sensor. You can use a remote and it's actually the Airxcel Max Air fan. And so you have a lot of control here. And if you have the remote in hand, you don't have to be nearby to operate it. I love that because in a small space, this is very, very efficient. I'm going to look around this side and I'm going to take you through. You do have some storage right here. They did find a way to put storage anywhere they possibly could. They just opened it up. So storage right here, I can think of a few things I might put there. It might be manuals. It might be, hey, a cookbook. I don't know. Something that you need to grab on the regular basis as you head it in and out. For storage here in the kitchen, we have these cubbies here, and we have 4 really good ones down below here. And they are pretty deep. These top ones go all the way back to, if I'm just putting my arm in, about like that. So we're talking a good 20-ish inches or so on these top and bottom. Again, very beautiful. And the surface here is really a good cook space. Now, I admit, this is a smaller camper, and it's meant to fit in a smaller truck bed. The footprint really isn't that big. There are no slide outs, so you're going to have to see where adjustments had to be made to just make the space work. They did a fantastic job because I can use a space. There's space behind the sink and the stove, a little bit to the side. You can put your coffee maker, maybe a few other implements. Not huge, but you might be camping solo or a couple, and you might be just running really lean. And I love that format. Backpacking background. Again, this just allows it to be a lot of usable space when you're not cooking, but when you are cooking, a really beautiful singular unit that flows together. Your stove, 2 burners with a lighter, and a nice sink here. Very usable, easy to clean. Just imagine cooking and then just wiping it down, sloughing it off, and going down. Now this camper has 15 gallons of fresh water holding capacity and 15 gallons of gray water holding capacity. Now, what do you do for black water? It is a cassette toilet system, which we have used on so many of our campers that are designed to go off grid, maybe going to BLM land or national parks or Forest Service roads, just really out of the way. This has a cassette toilet. It's about 5-ish gallons of capacity. I think it's 4.7. Really very common, very usable. You saw me pull the remote for the Max Air fan. Over on the side is power source, and it is a GFCI plug, the 110 volt shore power, if you will, coming through. And then we have your Go Power 30 amp solar controller right on the wall here, because this camper standard comes with 400 watts of solar on the roof. It's between 2 panels on the roof. Really nice system, and it's standard. Over below that, I do see that we have the monitor for your tanks, your gray and your fresh. Now there it says black, but that's not going to apply to this camper. And then your battery monitor, and then your water pump switch. I do have more things to show you because you have this cubby here. This is an option, this microwave, and I think it's fantastic, but it does add a little bit to that weight number. Again, they were targeting 1,500 pounds. This weighs a little over 1,600 pounds. This doesn't have to be here. You can use it for storage. They have the little cleats to tie in more of this webbing right on the sides here, so you're good to go. But it's nice to have this little option if you want. A range hood with a light, a fan, and coming down, I see the battery disconnect. Now, battery disconnect, you're not going to be using that so much when you're traveling, when you're using the camper, but if you're in storage for any period of time and you want to just disconnect the batteries from everything, that way you don't have any nominal draws from any of your monitors or circuit boards or things like that, you just pull that key out and turn it off, pull that key out, and you know that your battery is disconnected. Put it back in, lock it in place, and your battery is reconnected. Down below, towards the floor, I do see a monitor for your propane gas should there be a leak. Now, propane is heavier than air, so that's why it's so close to the floor. I also see that they have slits around the sides near the floor because this has a really nice Truma Combi system. That is for your hot water and for your furnace system. Real fast delivery on that hot water, but the fact that it is both systems is a little bit more efficient, and it's piped in the sides, so it's a little bit quieter, and it feels like radiant heat coming right on up, so it operates very evenly. Really like the Truma system there. I'm going to look on this side, and you're going to notice you have more cubbies, again, very deep, all the way here, about the same depth here on both, but this is one I really like, is this pass-through storage right here. We have a few of the accoutrements that come with this. It's a brand new camper, so there's a number of things here, including your remote for your electric jacks, another option on here. And then I have another cubby down here, 1, 2, 3, and then coming across, another 2 connected cubbies up here. Again, deep. You have the skeletonized divider there, and I really like this look and this style. This is the control for your Truma Combi, and this is the Northern Lite clock, and it's kind of a staple in Northern Lite units. We really like it a lot. And you have a little bit of power delivery here. You have your 12-volt cigarette style plug there, or outlet there, and then USB style right there. I do have more power around the cabin. There's actually another outlet down near the floor here in the dinette. I'll show you more about the dinette here in a second. This seat is right in the right space for me, and a good height for me because I'm fairly tall. But it has it hides one of the more requested options or features for people in truck campers, even in their smaller campers. This won't be for everybody. I totally get it that not everybody will appreciate what this is, but it is the biggest request for people who want a truck camper in this size. And that is somewhere to go in the middle of the night, so you don't have to be approached by the bears and the wolves and, whatever. I don't know, aardvark? Where are you camping if you have an aardvark? I don't know. You could probably camp there, though. So you have a Thetford cassette toilet. It is right here. And obviously, it has its pros and cons. You have a place to go, and it is very accessible. It is a little bit exposed. So, depending on your relationships, how you camp, what you're comfortable with, this might be the perfect solution. If this doesn't work for you, then it's not the perfect solution for you. It is for someone else. However, look at the efficiency here. Just check this out. I mean, come on. Conversation, maybe not cooking, washing hands. This is the ultimate in camping comfort. I personally would not mix all those activities. Moving on. Now I'm coming back further into the 1016, and you're going to see I personally am going to have to duck, but I am, again, in my shoes, about 6'5", and I got a little beanie on top today. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here and get a little bit more comfortable, because it is comfortable. They have this nice leatherette dinette. It is a good dense foam. Above me, what I was hitting my head on is an optional 10,500 BTU air conditioner. It is a Dometic unit, very known unit. And then right over here is a 3 cubic foot, 12-volt refrigerator. And I'm going to let you take a little look at it, because it's a good size. You have a freezer in the top, good movable shelves, a little crisper bin in the bottom, movable storage in the side as well. Again, 12 volt, so it cools down super efficiently, and we're going to talk about how you power that in a little bit, but I'm going to come over here. More storage in the same system here, 3 bins, and then our converter right here that stores your fuses and your breakers, all nicely labeled. There's nothing that is kind of, I did this halfway in these campers. These Northern Lights are really good. There's a really cool little port right here, but it does not go down into your truck bed. So it's a little screw-off little port. It's very circular, and it's access to a valve so you can winterize your camper. So bypass your water heater or whatnot, do the winterization process. Let's rotate around here. And speaking of rotate, this is a lagoon table setup. Nice surface. There's no open edge here, so if you spill something, it's not going to go down into a seam and cause any expansion whatsoever. That's just not going to happen with this table at all. Solid feeling, and it allows you to make sure that everybody around the table can be comfortable, or it can kind of get out of the way, what have you. Lots of options here. You can take this completely out, travel without it. I very well might do that if it's a standard just me alone kind of outing. I'm just going fishing or what have you. I might leave that at home. This can be used. You can drop it down here and extend the foam over, used as a sleeping space. And it's not a very big one, but maybe you just want a place for a small human to curl up because it's a dad and kid kind of trip. Perfect for that. I'm going to come right across, and I'm going to show you that there is lighting, again, all the way throughout this camper. It's going to be a lot of these switched lighting options. One thing I do want to show you, and there are windows like this on both sides, one over the kitchen and one right here, but you've seen windows like this before, but this is like the top tier. They open like you've seen before. You unlatch them around the perimeter. And before, you would see little knurled locks on both sides that you would have to push up and lock it on both sides in order to hold it open wherever you wanted. Or you'd have a clicking system where you could push a little bit, it'd click, and then you want more, you push it till it clicks. This one is infinitely adjustable without the locking knurls and without or knobs and without the clicks, and it's so satisfying. You have one of these here and one on the other side right above the kitchen. Now they do still have the bug screen, which can attach to this. This is a blackout shade. Now you may notice it is locking in place, and I could do half bug screen, half blackout shade. And then this is a mechanical release to let it all the way back down. A really, really nice window system. And just like the other ones that I still believe are not quite as nice, you can do a little bit of a halfway semi-closed part where you can clip it one click in and still have some air coming around right at the perimeter of the window. However, you don't want to travel that way, so we're going to go ahead and remember to bring that all the way in before we latch it down. And there you go. Let's move on a little bit further into the camper. I'm back into this spot, and I do notice that there is your smoke detector on the ceiling and a light right above me. Again, two positions, so you have two brightness levels. Now, where I'm sitting does hide a little bit of gear. Underneath me is not storage per se, because right beneath me is actually the bin for the Truma water heater. And then to the side over here underneath the bench is the battery bay. It is an internal all-enclosed battery bay, so you're not going to be able to use a traditional RV battery, or even, we wouldn't recommend even an AGM battery. We would say this camper is designed specifically to use lithium ion. Now, this camper has a lot of the options, but from Northern Lite, you could option in a single 100 amp hour lithium ion battery or two 100 amp hour lithium ion batteries, and they're from Go Power. This particular unit doesn't have them, so you could purchase the brand that you want, or you could put a single larger lithium ion battery. There's a little bit of room, and you have your options. Let's talk about the space right here. This, of course, is your sleeping space, and it is almost a true queen. It is a true 80 inches in length, and it is, instead of 60 inches in width, like a true queen, is 54 inches. Most people will find that is perfectly acceptable, particularly in a camper of this size. Again, can fit a 6'6" 6" box, short bed, if you will, half-ton pickup. So there you go. I do want to lift this mattress and show you that they have kept in mind that they build this so you're comfortable in 4-season camping. So they have this mat, if you will, underneath the mattress, and it gives you a little bit of an air gap underneath, which allows for heat or air transfer, not heat transfer, air transfer to flow beneath, and you're not getting a condensation issue on the bottom side of your mattress. And it allows, if you are heating your camper, some of the heat from that Truma system to follow not only in this cabin area around you, but also underneath your mattress. Keep you separated from the cold elements outside. There's a very nice mattress, a very nice space. The carpeting on the ceiling continues. There's a light. More about this sleeping space. It's a very comfortable area, but it has this great hikey style vent window system. It can be opened up to the top at various levels, which means you can pull air straight down into the sleeping space. And if you're using it, coupling it up with the max air fan, that airflow can be spectacular, which means that you might not have to run this air conditioner, maybe hardly ever. It doesn't use that much energy. It does have a soft start. That's really cool. However, not having to use it is not having to use it. It does open up different levels, airflow, and a blackout shade or screen. Again, a little bit of both if you want it. Reading lights on both sides, so you can decide which way you want to sleep, and just a comfortable situation for 1 or 2 campers in this very capable 4-season small truck bed, half-ton capable truck camper. Let's go look more outside. Okay, we're on the outside. Again, I can't get over the quality that Northern Lite puts in every single one of their truck campers. This one is just an example of them taking what's tried and true and engineering into a modern format just for them. Now you will notice taking quite a step down. That is not normal for a Northern Lite truck camper, but they really did try to make this fit some parameters. A smaller capacity truck, so they needed to save weight, and a smaller truck bed. So what did they do? They went with, instead of their usual really cool step system that they have on the back, they went with the cleats here that you can latch on a 4 or 5 step system. That is an option because some people like to bring their own step system. Or if it's a long bed, an 8-foot bed, you might just have the tailgate here, in which case, who knows, that tailgate may have a step system built in. So you have the option to get a 4-step or 5-step that latches on here. While I'm down here, let's talk about the cassette system on that toilet. Now it is lockable because you don't want anybody to steal your poo, and then it's sealed. Notice how thick that door is. That's a good 1.5 inches maybe of material. It has a great seal around it. So that again protects you from the elements and whatnot. And this is your standard cassette toilet style cassette. We've talked about them before, but it makes it so easy to have a functional camper that can go lots of places, and you can get this and maybe dump it in a vault toilet if that's the closest thing you have nearby. You can travel with it because it has wheels, it has a handle, and it's so easy to dump. You twist that, open it up, give it a tilt, and you push this little button to reduce the vacuum effect, so there's not really any glugging. And then you can go ahead and cap it and put it back in. While it's out, you might want to put toilet treatment in there, or you can put toilet treatment from the top of the toilet. You got that option. I mean, they're really handy and understandable, used in a lot of off-grid camper applications here and around the world. Kind of a tried and true system. So again, it closes with a nice seal, it locks, fantastic. And down below, you might see a little bit of storage possibility, potential here. Let's see what we have. Again, lockable on both sides. Down here, I would say this is truly storage. They have this wonderful little sliding bin, and it is an open space. You can feel a little bit of wiring down here. You'll actually see back there your freshwater tank down yonder. And if you go all the way through on this side, it goes all the way to the front of this lower portion. So you could put a longer storage. Maybe you have some tent poles, awning poles, not for this, it doesn't have an awning, but maybe you bring something with you that requires it. Just keep that in mind. I've heard of people postulating you might bring skis or something and be able to put it there. Very possible. Sealed cabinet as well. And on this side, same sort of enclosure, but it says right here very clearly, not for storage. Why is that? Because this, and let me turn on this light, there is a light down here, because this is where you're gonna find some equipment. This is your outlet for your gray tank. It has a little catch hand down here. Outlet, you have some valves, you have access to your water pump. So I wouldn't store a single thing in here as the sticker says, but easy access when you need to get to it. Now, let's come on up and around. This is one of the nice things I like about Northern Lite is, if you look here, obviously this is all the manufacturing details, but camper dry weight. Now that's their target weight for a standard build. It says 1,500 pounds. But when you start adding equipment, it obviously adds weight. So they weigh it when it leaves the factory. And this exact camper outside the factory weighed 1,630 pounds. There you go. Now, let's come around and look at this. This is another option. This is an electric jack system. The standard 610 from Northern Lite, because you need jacks, but you don't necessarily need the weight, will have manual jacks. Those are lighter weight. This one has the optional electric jacks. They add weight, but I mean, who's gonna deny that they make it an easier loading and offloading situation? So we like that very much. They powder coat their brackets to make sure that the look is very clean and I guess cohesive. Right here, you have an outdoor shower, hot and cold. Hot water supplied by that Truma Combi system. Now, you did notice there was no shower on the inside. This is your option. So you might set up a shower tent or just go au natural out in the natural environment. 30 amp shore cord or shore input, vent for the Truma system, and then you have your inlets for your freshwater holding tank, or if you're just going to be camping, maybe you're on a away trip and you're going to have some stops off grid and some stops at an RV park just to make it all work for you, you can connect to city water. Let's say you want to use it as your spare room when family visits. Perfect application. You can go ahead and use the city water at your house to supply water to the unit. I'm going to come down here. This is how you connect to your pickup truck for power, recharges the system while you're traveling. Now let's take a look right here, because this is something that I'm starting to see on the lightest weight, smallest format truck campers, and they're starting to use ratchet systems to tie right down into the tie down points that are already available in your truck bed. And it works really well. I've used these on my pickup truck with great success. Now, if you want something a little bit more stable, there are options that you can come through the frame at the bottom of the truck bed and really have something, but I've never had need myself. These are fantastic, and it means you don't have to add equipment to your truck, such as your standard tie down systems. So something this light, this size, this is a great option. This is not the end of our tour. It's almost the end. But while we walk this thing back, again, they make these things incredibly well. They are an upper tier product in the truck camper segment of the RV market. You can see the side of one of those solar panels, again, standard solar panels on this camper, those beautiful high quality windows, the fact that it is great materials that they make this out of. But one more thing to show you is, where do you put your propane? Right here. Your standard propane tank, again, same size that you use on your barbecue pit, which makes it easy to move. It's not too heavy, easy access. You can fill it back up. You could just replace it and you're good to go. You don't want it to be locked because it is propane and you need access to turn it on and off, and then it's vented and you are good to go. So this is a really nice camper, again, for a very specific person, very specific market. And for me, I really like it. I can see myself doing those solo trips I dream about, or a couple's trip or a dad and kid trip very easily in the truck I drive on a daily basis. A half-ton pickup truck that has the capacity. Not all half tons do, but there are some out there. And it gives me a little bit of headroom, if you will, on what I can bring. Enough water and enough clothes and food to have a beautiful outing, whichever format I want to do it in. Northern Lite did something special with the 610 truck campers. They built a true Northern Lite high quality build, 4-season, designed by those Canadians who know what they're talking about when it comes to 4-season. And they made it a small enough package that it's very accessible for an explorer, maybe the explorer in you. It's been fun showing it to you. I'm Clint from Princess Craft. We'll see you next time.